Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Welcome into ANF Sports Tonight. I am Ellie Parker, here once again, 3 days in a row.
3 for 3,
with
Ellie.
Connor Hines. Not that I am complaining. I love doing it with this man.
Hey, likewise, Ellie, likewise. It's always a good time. Happy Friday. How are
Happy
you
Friday.
doing?
We got a lot to talk about, a lot of people to listen to because big day in sports, big
It is.
weekend in sports.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, we just got, a busy day, busy weekend. We got a lot to talk about. We had something penciled in from yesterday. We talked about it yesterday, and that is still penciled in. So let's get right into it with the Bulldogs.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Talking about the upcoming game against Mississippi State.
Big-time favorite.
Big-time favorite.
Big-time favorite.
But Kirby Smart is not letting that get in the way.
And you know what, Ellie? They're probably going to find a way to not cover the 34-point spread or however many points they're favored by right now.
For me, at least, the 34-point spread is a little bit ridiculous, right?
It's a little high.
It just, on almost any given day. Maybe against an FCS team, that spread is
This is an SEC
legitimate.
game after all, right?
This is an SEC game, and Kirby said in a press conference that we're about to play that Mississippi State is a very, very hard team to prepare for.
Yeah.
So let's just get right into that sound and hear why he thinks that the Bulldogs, the other Bulldogs at least, are so hard to prepare for.
You have said before with some of the driving instances, you have, the kids have bringing speakers, that kind of thing to, kind of help them through that for situations like what he's
dealing with.
We got the same thing for that too.
Yeah, we educate, we bring in speakers. It's one of probably the most critical things we do. And, over the history of 9 years being here, it's probably the most spoke-on thing we have. We have people come over and speak from EOO on campus every year. And Dries does a great job of finding speakers, but then we bring in outside speakers. We call NFL teams, and Miss Mack from Atlanta does a great job. She comes over and shares with our student athletes and talks to them, and even does some role play of putting guys into situations. And, I'll be honest with you, in my years of coaching, it's probably been the hardest thing to deal with when you deal with players and some of the decisions. And I don't mean this in Colby's, because I don't know the details of that. I don't know everything involved in that, but it's a very sensitive matter and a tough thing to deal with, and it's unfortunate.
Sorry. You said that you haven't talked to Colby yet?
Correct.
So he's not practicing yet. Is there a chance he will this week, and is there a chance he'll play?
Again, I don't. It's a pending legal matter, so you know what I mean. He's not with us right now. He's not with us today. I haven't had a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, Coach. With how many different offenses are playing with fast pace, similar to Mississippi State? I know this sounds weird, but do you guys ever get comfortable with it? Do you ever get used to seeing an offense that plays with that much pace?
I don't know. I don't know if you can get comfortable with it. I'll be honest with you. It's hard. It's hard to simulate. Coming off the practice field. And they do a tremendous job of going nuclear fast, like number one in the country fast, like ahead of Tennessee fast. But they don't have to. Like, they can do that. But then if they want to try to help their defense, they can slow it down. But the unfortunate thing is once they've shown they can go at that pace, what do you have to prepare for? You got to prepare for that. And it takes a lot of the focus off your fundamentals because – you expend a lot of energy just trying to get lined up. I don't think people actually know how difficult these teams are to prepare for because it's what they do. It's not what you do. So it's a little bit like triple option, right? Like the greatest equalizer is when you play a triple option team and you can't prepare for it. Now, they're not triple option. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's hard to prepare for because we don't see it very often. So it's hard. Yeah, we do, but it's getting more prevalent, because he's in our league. Lane is a little bit of that. He's not, Lane's not quite that complete flavor. And then there's Tennessee, which we drew all three of these guys, and they all come somewhat from the same family tree. I think Levy was with Lane, and then he has a little bit of flavor of Heupel. So we have to practice it every year, every off season, and it's a pain. It's a pain to do it.
Coach, I know with freshman running backs, we ask you all the time about pass pro and that kind of thing. That's how it's one of the more difficult things for him to pick up. In regard to Nate Frazier, how is that part of his game progressing to this point?
It's getting better. Like, the first thing I found on freshmen is, do they have the courage? Okay, he has the courage. Some of them don't have the courage. Does he have the strength? He's got the strength. Like, he can lift the weights, and you got a 225-pound linebacker. You got to be physical. The guy's coming full speed at you, and you're standing still. Like, he checks that box. And then is he smart enough? Can he pick it up and know mentally what to get with the pace of it? He gets a lot of looks from us. And he's not been perfect at that, and he's had some issues with that. And we got a quarterback that we feel like it's really important to protect. And Nate takes a lot of pride in his performance, and he wants to do it right. So we give him a lot of opportunities to get better at that in practice, and he's taking a lot of ownership in that.
Yeah, Kirby, Jared Wilson, Kristen Miller, Jordan Hall, what have they been able to do this week at practice?
Yeah, does that thing come out tonight? Is it tomorrow? I couldn't remember what day it was. Today's Tuesday, right? It comes out Wednesday. I was going to say it'll be out here shortly. Christian's been able to practice. Jared's better than he was, but not taking full load reps. He's taking some reps, but not. He's taking more than he was last week, but not full load. And Christian is taking reps. I don't know who's the other one.
Jordan.
Jordan's trying to get out there and go. Man, he's pushing so hard. I hate it for that kid because he's had 2 rods. A rod put in both legs, and he's out there frustrated. He's doing more than he did last week, but I don't know that I can say he's ready to play this week.
This afternoon, the D1 committee shortened the portal window to December 9th to 28th. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd heard that was a possibility. What was it before? 30 days maybe?
Well, so, yeah.
45?
30, 15 total for spring and.
They shrunk the December window, right? And it starts after our signing date, which was the purpose of moving signing date up. They wanted you to be able to sign your class, and they wanted to shrink the window there some. I think it's going to be really weird because you got this playoff thing going on. So, there's some people that feel like in the midst of a playoff, you're going to have guys that are maybe frustrated or unhappy on a team that's on a playoff run, and they're going to be checking out. So, but that has nothing to do with them shortening it because, that was going to happen inevitably anyway. So my thoughts on it is, whatever the fair amount of time is for a kid to go look around and see what he wants to do, then I'm comfortable with that. I don't know what that right amount is because, we don't have we're not a huge portal team, so we don't use that a lot. Usually the teams that are doing it are the teams that aren't playing, and the teams that are playing, they really got a hard time trying to shop in the portal and prepare for things. But times they are changing, I can promise you that. There's a lot of unknown for us moving in the future with the NCAA stuff coming down the pipe and even the portal stuff. We don't know what the future holds.
And, this was not Kirby Smart blowing smoke everywhere or creating things to motivate his players. Mississippi State is actually one of the 10 fastest offenses in college football right now, lasting just under 22 seconds a play.
Which is, I don't think that's something that Georgia has seen yet
No,
this year, to that
no.
extent, at least.
Because you're looking at the team right under them is Ole Miss at a 22 seconds flat.
Another team that UGA will play this year.
Another team that UGA will play. So playing Mississippi State rather will probably be a good test for how they might do against Ole Miss. But the other teams in that top 10 are not teams that Georgia has faced or will face.
Sure.
They're not going to play North Texas anytime soon. So yeah, this is definitely, it might not be a problem for UGA.
Right.
Because that fast-paced offense hasn't really worked out for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. But, it is something that they're going to need to prepare for because it isn't something that they've really seen this season.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, it's another week in the SEC. What does Kirby always say? Humility is only 1 week away. He loves saying that, and I think regardless of the opponent on your schedule, you have to treat each game with the same responsibility and urgency, especially when you're a program that has the expectations that UGA has. So, there's been so much said for UGA maybe playing down to the skill level of the opposition. Maybe not blowing out Auburn as much as you should have. There are numerous instances where, UGA fans have maybe felt like the Dogs have left something out there on the table. So I think it's perfectly justified to keep beating that drum that Kirby has beat. I mean, one of these days you gotta blow out a team that you're supposed to blow out, and you might not win by 34 like you're expected to according to the Vegas odd makers, but my goodness, another opportunity to make a statement. So everything that he says there is totally justified, I think, and I think you should feel good about that if you're a UGA fan.
Moving to another team that is expected to win their game this weekend, the Atlanta Falcons are going up to Charlotte to play the Carolina Panthers. Jesse Bates talked to the media before the game, and he was a guy who was drafted by the Bengals when current Panthers quarterback Andy Dalton was in Cincinnati, and he had the opportunity to talk about his relationship to Andy Dalton and how it affected him very early on in his career, how he saw Andy Dalton not quite as a role model, but as someone who definitely taught him how to handle himself in the NFL. And he also talked about how the Falcons defense wants to stop this Carolina offense. Now, granted, it is the Carolina Panthers. The Falcons may have a perfectly middle-of-the-road defense, rather. The Panthers do not have a perfectly middle-of-the-road offense. They have had their fair share of offensive struggles. And let's go right to Jesse Bates and hear how he wants to make those struggles continue.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Andy. That was my quarterback when I got drafted in Cincinnati in 2018. So I just got a lot of respect for how he goes about his work. He played a big part in how I operate to this day. And, just talking about his play, he's a quarterback that he's always been known for getting the ball out quick and, being super decisive with his reads. So, yeah, I think you turn on the film against Vegas, I think he did a really good job of, moving the ball around. Obviously, they've struggled the last couple of weeks, but Andy's a really great dude, really great player as well. Excited to go against him and hopefully get some picks off him as well.
How did he help you, as you said, figure out your training and how you operate back then?
Yeah, as a young guy, I feel like everybody should, see how other leaders on your team is operating. And, I could think back 7 years ago when I first walked into a locker room and just watching how Andy, his process every day, every week, along with, Geno Atkins and A.J. Green, all those guys. It means a lot for a younger guy to be able to have that example in front of him, and being able to have conversations with Andy as well. Those are some great memories as well. And I'm excited, like I said, to just talk to Andy and see how him and his family's doing.
You talk about the coach was bragging on you a little bit about kind of your nose for the ball, being able to create a turnover, punch one out. Just talk about your mentality as a safety, being able to, I got to get the guy down. Also going to take a shot at that football while I'm here. Yeah,
it's something that I've just, over the past 2 years, I think I've kind of taken a step forward in my game, is, making open field tackles, but at the same time, trying to affect the game as much as I can. A lot of times as safeties, you don't get as much as, the blitzes off the edge and try to get strip sacks and stuff. So just trying to be, like you said, having a knack for the ball, whether that's in the air or even when they're running the ball. You can still get a turnover when, a team is running the ball. So That's kind of always been my mindset. It's something that I do. I practice every day. It's kind of like a habit now. Every time I'm in a position to go make a tackle, I'm gonna go punch the ball as well. And then if I miss the punch, then I'll make the tackle. So it's just a good habit, I think, that can rub off not just on me, but everybody else on our team as well, on defense, on special teams, whatever it is. All that matters is the ball. So that's important.
Jesse, going against this Carolina offense, what are your primary keys in the defensive backfield to help ensure success?
Yeah, the first thing is obviously they've ran the ball really well, and we haven't stopped the run. We're not the best at it right now. I think that we're more than capable of being a really good run-stopping defense, but we haven't shown that on tape yet. And this is another great week for us to go put it on film. This team is heavy run, and then you'll get some boots, and then you'll get some shots as well to Deontay Johnson, who I much well respect as well. So, just another week that presents its own challenges, but we got to stop number 30. That's the end goal.
Last week, your offense scored on the very first drive of the game, choosing to receive rather than defer. What's that like as a defense to have that happen to you?
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, obviously, when a team starts off and they go down there and they drive the ball down and they score a touchdown. It's not a good feeling at all, but it happens. It's not something that's that doesn't happen in this league. It happens, and a lot of times I think we haven't started too fast on defense, but in the second half I think we're doing a really good job of just settling down and playing our keys and playing our ball. I think last week they had like 20-some points in the first half. We're all pissed off, and then we give up 2 field goals in the second half. So just making sure that we can have that settle down mentality in the first half as well is something that we'll continue to work and continue to get better at as a defense.
When it is your offense that does score right away, how much does that help momentum for the defense and taking the field right after?
Yeah, it definitely helps you, loosen up a little bit. You're on the sideline and you see Kirk and those guys, take 5 to 7 minutes off the clock and they're going down there and scoring. It kind of gives you some type of momentum on defense to keep that. But like I said, we haven't did that, and it's a challenge that we're excited to do for sure.
Because I know you guys focus week to week, but you're out of the gate 3-2, and in the division off to a hot start. So just kind of how excited are you at the potential of maybe this road that you guys are on?
Yeah, it's good that I think we've learned a lot over these past 5 weeks, figuring out what we're good at, what we're not good at, what's our base calls, and the biggest thing is, like you said, it's week in and week out. But it's good to see the bigger picture, and it's good to see where we stand in our division, and now it's all about keeping it there. A lot of teams now are either you see guys starting to get fired, you start seeing guys getting benched. You can't get bored with all the details and the process of week in and week out if you want to be a great team. And I think that we're on the right path of being there. But it's just you got to continue to persistently just continue to get better and figure out who you are and what you're good at. So we're excited. Like I said, it's a great position to be in, but we can be in a better position. We know that, and there's a lot of things that we can get better at.
Jesse, is it easier to focus on a 1-4 team than somebody maybe that's 3-1?
No, I would think every week it don't matter what the record is. This is the NFL, and guys are going to come to play. I don't care if it's Bryce Young out there, whether it's Andy Dalton. Guys are going to people have their jobs on the line week in and week out. We got families to feed, so we're going to get their best. I've been part of a 1-4 team. I've been that guy on that team, and I know what mentality I had, and it's no backing down. So as a captain on this team, I think you don't really care about what the record is, just really about who are we becoming week in and week out. And I think we're getting close to that, and we're getting.
We're talking about the spread for the Georgia-Mississippi State game.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at Falcons and Panthers.
Yeah, what you got?
Falcons -6.
Okay.
Over under 46.5. I think I take the under, but Falcons cover the spread.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, because, I mean, again, like we've talked about all week, what does this Panthers offense do to make you think that they're going to put up a ton of points? Now, take last Thursday's performance for the Falcons, and you can see why the number's probably around there, because Atlanta could go off for, you know, a 3-score win like you suggested yesterday, Ellie. So, look, I mean, it might be an ugly game at times.
Might be an ugly game.
If you're a Falcons fan, you're hoping that Atlanta goes up there, takes care of business, and puts this to bed, as you would expect Kirk Cousins to. So,
moving on to our resident San Diego Padres correspondent, Connor Hines.
I'm a wreck, Ellie. I'm a wreck.
Game 5 tonight at Dodger Stadium. Yu Darvish on the bump for the Padres. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the bump for the Dodgers. Oh boy.
Yeah, look, I mean, we always thought this was going to go 5. I think deep down everybody knew that this series deserved 5 games. My whole thing, which is totally neither here nor there, is that I think division series should be best of 7s.
That is a take I cannot agree with.
Okay, that's fine.
I cannot agree with.
That's fine. That's fine. I know it always has been best of 5. Look, I mean, we're gonna get what you would hope, the best from both sides here tonight. I think it's gonna be a close game. As a Padres fan, I feel good about it. I really do. The fan in me says that the Padres have done too many good things with too many good moments this year for the season to end tonight. Now, will that happen? Who knows? We got to watch the game.
And fun fact, tonight is the first postseason game to ever have 2 Japanese starting pitchers.
I was pretty surprised to hear that, just because of how prevalent Major League Baseball and the crossover between the Japanese
especially
professional
since
baseball
Hideo Nomo came over in 1995.
Yeah.
So there's been about 30 postseasons where there's been the opportunity to have a Japanese pitcher, but no, this is the first time where we had 2 starters in the same game.
And something that I heard on my San Diego hometown radio show this morning, shout out Ben and Woods, is that this game tonight, Ellie, because of the nature of the starting pitching matchup, has the potential to be one of the highest viewed baseball games globally.
Yeah.
This is going to be Saturday morning in Japan. It's going to be Saturday morning in Japan. People are going to be fired up about this game over in Japan. So, going to garner a lot of attention, as it should. Really compelling series. Really compelling postseason.
There's the Shohei element.
Yeah, exactly.
There's him. He's one of the biggest stars in Japan.
Yep. He's the best right now.
Yeah, and he's the best player on the planet. So,
can we talk about this umpire cam nonsense?
Oh my God, I hate it so much.
We started talking about it yesterday, but I think it's so rare where they cut away to this. For those who might not know, it's basically a GoPro that all the home plate umpires are wearing.
It's a GoPro and that the home plate umpire is wearing, especially. So you get this first-person perspective from the umpire's camera.
It's really unsettling.
In theory, it's very cool. In practice, not only is it unsettling to me, it's a little bit nauseating.
Yeah. And when have they cut away to that camera live during the broadcast for something to actually happen? I think most of the times it's a guy taking a pitch inside for a ball or swinging away at a strike. I think it's funny that they cut away to it live. Maybe in a slow-mo kind of replay after something big happens, I can see it. But I think that is the broadcast trying to do just a little too much, right? Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Obviously, you gotta try new things in the postseason. You gotta try stuff out, make it interesting.
Sure. And I understand. People are trying to make the game relevant to people that are kind of teetering on even watching these postseason games. But I just thought that was funny because that was one broadcast gimmick that I have not seen tried until this year. So.
It ain't it.
You tried.
All right, returning to the college football sphere, going to talk about things other than the Bulldogs. What games are you interested in outside of the Bulldogs?
I gotta go Red River, right? It's
Yeah,
hard.
you got to go Red River Shootout.
It's hard. It's hard not to. Obviously the classic between Texas and Oklahoma this weekend at the Cotton Bowl there in Dallas. Just something on the bucket list, especially because it's always the same weekend of the Texas State Fair, and I mean, it just looks incredible, right?
Yeah, it's always one of the best atmospheres in college football.
Now, will it be one of the best games in college football this weekend? I do not think so.
That is a take. It is a ranked matchup. Texas is number 1. Oklahoma is number 18. That is a take that it won't be one of the best games.
I don't think Oklahoma has shown us enough to believe that this can be a one-score game late in the fourth quarter, or something that one of those classic Red River situations that we've come to know. Now, of course, rivalry game, all bets are off. I would not be surprised if this is another good game. But Ellie, Texas undefeated, unanimous number 1 ranked team in the country right now. I mean, the Bulldogs are certainly going to have their hands full when they got to go play Texas here in the next couple weeks. So, I think this is a different level of good from Texas. I think they find a way to win pretty easily. What's the spread on that one? What do you got over there?
That is, hold on, I had it up.
Ellie's on the boards.
It is, please hold, everyone. I just had it.
Do you see it? I don't see it.
I can see it.
All bets are off in a rivalry game, but
Texas minus 15.
See, it doesn't surprise me at all. Does not surprise me at all. And
Over-under of 48.5.
This is also the first Red River with both schools as a member of the SEC.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. What else you got over there, Ellie? Missouri? They play UMass.
Yeah, Missouri versus UMass. I went to Missouri.
That's why you're on it.
That's why I'm on it. Missouri spread.
Penn
minus
State
27.
USC.
I think that's less interesting than you're making it out to be. My eyes, outside of the Missouri game.
Oh, Tennessee, Florida.
My eyes have to be on OSU, Oregon, and Autzen.
Tell me that's primetime, right?
Primetime, 7:30. Spread is
just
Ohio State
4:30 in Oregon
by 3. Which I think that's going to be a real close game. I think that's a pretty accurate spread. You've got number 2 versus number 3. 2 really good offenses. Although Oregon has definitely had their moments.
Yeah, no doubt.
You had the scare against Idaho. You had the scare against Boise State. But they've made it through. 5-0. Both teams 2-0 in the Big Ten.
And it's a totally different experience when you're hosting that game at Autzen Stadium. A Big Ten game at Autzen Stadium. It's funny, we call it primetime, 7:30 Eastern, but the sun's still going to be up in Oregon, 4:30 Pacific. But maybe by the second half, it'll get that primetime feel to it.
All right, send us home. What's on your mind?
You already know what's on my mind. Big night for the Pods. Positive vibes for the San Diego Padres. Here's hoping that the season's not over tonight. Had a chance to wrap it up at home in Game 4. Did not do that. Look, I mean, this is what everyone wanted. This is why people love the playoffs. It's maybe just don't come over to my desk for the next few hours if you can help it. What you got?
WNBA Finals Game 1 last night was an absolute barn burner. The Lynx came back from 18 down to pull it off in OT.
And Stewart, she needed both of the line. She got one.
And another thing about it, the most watched WNBA Finals game in over 20 years.
How about that?
So,
number one versus number 2. That's kind of what everyone wanted, right?
Yeah.
Except for Atlanta Dream fans.
Yeah. All right. For Connor Hines, I'm Ellie Parker. This has been ANF Sports Tonight. Go watch some sports.